No. Go west.
Na 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 na
Na, na,
na.
na, na, na. You can put this in for the
Go
This
west.
would be a good primo thing, you know. Hey everybody, this is the primo thing.
Hi everybody, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Patrick,
And I'm Paul.
and this time we're talking about our summer blockbusters dead.
So don't forget that we release videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. GMT. So like, subscribe, comment down below, ring that notification bell, and check out the channel and subscribe.
Do every YouTube thing possible, but do it to us and watch all our videos. Do it to us seemed a bit weird,
Yeah.
but you do you. Summer blockbusters, folks. Everybody has some concept of the summer blockbuster. And I want to get this out of the way really, really quick. People are like, well, before you say it started, blah, 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 well, the highest grossing film of all time is Gone with the Wind. Let's clear this up right now. Things changed when Jaws landed in 1975, the first of the summer blockbusters. Because Gone with the Wind, as much money as it made adjusted for inflation, was out for 4 years and then was re-released 8 times in the next 30 years. It was released in the cinema when my dad was a kid, and it was still in the cinema when I was born. So that's not the same as the must-see thing that is a blockbuster. What makes it a blockbuster? It's the event film. When Jaws came out, there was literally a line around the block.
Yeah.
That's where the phrase came from. They bust the block, they bust traffic, whatever way they came up with the phrase bust. I think it's just handy little sounded good. 75 changed the game, Jaws, but the rest of the decade kept doing it. You had Rocky, you had Grease, but then you had Star Wars, A New Hope, the first one, Episode 4, whatever you would like to call it. You had the big one. Star Wars changed the game because it introduced the blockbuster with all its accompanying things, the merchandise, the fanfare. It prepped the blockbuster to be something that studios were going to go, this isn't a flash in the pan. We're not just having Jaws and Star Wars. We want this.
Yeah.
We want it so bad.
It really set the mood for the next 4 decades in kind of how this is going to work kind of thing. Now we had some changes along the way which we're going to go through, but very much so set the tone.
Oh yeah, it very much set the table for it. So then we hit the 80s.
Yeah, so we hit the 80s. We had which was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Spielberg kind of came in here and did a lot of magic stuff with E.T. as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which was we had Back to the Future as well. Which was
Ghostbusters and Top Gun
at the end, which kind of set the mood for more action-y packed kind of
it was the other kind of blockbuster. The idea that people thought, oh well, maybe a blockbuster is a big action film. As it turns out, that's not just the case, but it definitely was a defining part of people's feeling towards the genre for a while. Let's face it, Spielberg had a pretty big effect starting it off and then continued it into the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the 80s...
Yeah, we had, which was Batman.
1989, Burton.
Yeah. The first Batman film to come out, the first comic book kind of summer blockbuster film to come out. So, that was an interesting kind of one to go forward.
Yeah, and it also had that hallmark of the blockbuster thing, merchandise again. The yellow bat symbol was printed on everything. Printed on plates, printed on t-shirts, printed on towels, printed on scarves.
Yeah, it was everywhere. You had the, Batmobile was out, the Batarangs, even things about the Joker came out as well. Like the franchise it built and also the merchandise it built was very synonymous to what Star Wars did. Not to the same level.
No.
But still on the lines of what a summer blockbuster will do.
But you could see the studios were thinking, we want this to continue into the next decade, and they were given that nice big push to see if it could work, and it did, because then you got to the 90s. The 90s were slightly different for blockbusters. You started seeing that it was maybe predicated on franchises a little bit. Mm-hmm. Terminator 2 was a big one. Again, more in the action genre. It was not your family film pure and simple because it was a bit darker. But probably got a lot of that Top Gun crowd. You had Jurassic Park, which is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
go for it. Like Jurassic Park, who didn't it cover?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it covered a lot of quadrants, and it was a family friendly kind of film. It had a little bit of actiony to it. It had a little bit of wonder. So it really covered a lot of the ground. It also it also once again set up a franchise. It also did a lot of merchandising as well. So it fills that summer blockbuster slot really, really well.
Yeah, and it's like it hit all 4 quadrants: old, young, male, female. It did what it needed to do for studios to go, oh yes, the blockbuster's still a thing, because it was in middle 90s ish. But you also had things like Independence Day doing the Top Gun, which again, neither of those films really turned into a franchise. I know there's an Independence Day too, but it's not looking like that's going to be it's not an MCU moment in any way. There may be another Top Gun. There's still talk. But by the end of the decade, you had already had 2 more Batman films. So you had your Spielberg, you had your Batman, you have your merchandise films, and then to top it all off, to complete the set for the 90s in all of the blockbuster tropes and checklist, it ended in the 90s, 99, with Star Wars Phantom Menace, going right back to what, helped really cement the blockbusters, that first Star Wars film. I don't have that many good things to say about the Phantom Menace.
No.
But it was definitely a blockbuster.
It was an event in the summer kind of thing for a franchise that everybody loved. It was the first film to come out in quite a long time. So yeah, it was a summer blockbuster.
It was the film event of the millennium until people got into the cinema.
And 2 hours later?
Yeah, 2 hours later, it was no longer the film event of the millennium. And then you're into the 2000s when things started to change.
Yeah, so you had the rise of the internet and stuff, so word of mouth kind of was still going on, chugging along very well kind of thing, but it became a more powerful kind of a tool because of the viral kind of which could word of mouth online and everything. So we had we had some good blockbusters out there as well. So we had which was the Batman Begins and also the Spider-Man
the Sam Raimi Spider-Man,
which once again establishes that DC had a fairly good hold on the summer blockbuster with Batman, and you could see that Sony with a Marvel character came in there as well, what else?
Well, I guess to your point of that change in technology, because the internet had gone from its infancy in the 90s into, like, social media started in the mid 2000s that decade, and Dark Knight's a great example of it didn't go viral as in not a clip that went viral, but the idea that Heath Ledger was going to be a Joker exploded, and people were like, he'll be the worst Joker ever. Good job, world. You got that right, didn't you? Oh my god, how many people have deleted that account now?
Yeah, deleted those past tweets.
Yeah. Heath Ledger will be the worst Joker ever. Will he now?
Yeah,
and I guess how did that all manifest itself after that? Because the one thing we forgot in the 2000s is the Shreks. Toy Story was not a summer blockbuster in the 90s, but it was that other phenomenon that we noticed when we were doing our research. You're not always the summer blockbuster. We were looking at the highest grossing films for each of the years. If you aren't the summer blockbuster, quite often you're released in November or sometimes October, like Toy Story. The other ones in the kind of the 90s were like Titanic. These are all November, October films. Titanic, Lion King, Aladdin, all that stuff. They're also kind of familiar because Aladdin, Lion King, like, spotting a theme here, people. When you're a blockbuster, if you can't be turned into a franchise, you'll be resurrected at some point in the future.
Yeah. Very much so. Which I think Aladdin's currently in the cinemas right now.
It's in the cinemas right now, and The Lion King will be in next month, I think, something like that. So yeah, they'll keep going back. You're never dead if you've made them money. It's fair enough. I respect the hustle.
So yeah, then we had the 2010s, which is the return of the sequels.
Yeah, and the thing that everybody's going, oh, it's all MCU and comic book movies, as we've just proven. 1989 is when that started, but this really has been the decade where people see multiple summer blockbusters.
Yeah, like the events kind of the summer blockbuster as a singular event kind of came to an end, especially with the strategies that a lot of studios were taking on. That it was becoming, their movies were becoming events, and they were proving building them up and everything on the social media. PR was going mad and stuff like that. So like, it no longer was essentially the June kind of region of movies that was the summer blockbuster. It's now, you had we had the Star Wars films in December.
Yeah.
And we had Marvel films that went in February as well as June as well.
When wasn't there a Marvel film tried out? They hit every part of the year.
Very much so. And then, as you said before, we had November and October, which was once again kind of dark horses in the race of the summer blockbuster.
Yeah, and the other films that made big money in the last kind of 9 years of this decade, the Toy Story 3s of this world, Harry Potter 2, they're all massive summer blockbusters. But they are part of that now franchise thing. So even though they made money, they were already established. So they're people going to see the next chapter, which leads into how the MCU did what they did. They made it all a bunch of chapters.
Yeah, and it kind of what they did with kind of is, I guess, reminiscent of the summer blockbuster is they released films throughout the year, but the collection, the Avengers and stuff, was at that slot of the summer blockbuster kind of moments. But once again, because they made each movie into an event, other studios follow suit and kind of making their movies into an event. It was only so it's no longer that summer block in June or July that's actually the summer blockbuster movie. It's not this is the accumulation of Marvel's end of chapter kind of thing.
They've done away with the dump months in a lot of ways, because now there's no month of the year that you go, oh, we'll just, those are the months we'll avoid, because there aren't as many gaps anymore. Like when we were discussing this and we were researching this, you pointed out people used to avoid that summer blockbuster. If somebody got there first and they had the big gun, everybody was like, I'm not putting my other good film near that, I'll try it out elsewhere, or maybe wait till next year in some cases.
Yeah.
You can't do that now, or else you'd never get to release your film. And you have the elephant in the room, and that is Netflix, HBO, and the massive competition now that exists outside the cinema. You've got events happening in the home in a theatrical way.
Yeah, we've got Game of Thrones, we've got, Stranger Things, you've got Black Mirror, like loads of, and then once again, you've got, Chernobyl, which was a dark horse out of nowhere. Like loads of TV shows are coming out and kind of taking sections of the property of time kind of thing coming out. So that's an interesting one as well.
So you can't avoid a weekend now. There's no point in going, well, we don't have the confidence to release this in X date. Because if you avoid the next big Avengers film, you might land on the next big Stranger Things release.
Yeah. So
you're just going to have to take your chances, and not everybody survives. There have been a few casualties of that. Sorry, Shazam. I think you were just in the wrong spot for you. Should have been a Christmas movie. Yeah,
in between Captain Marvel and Endgame, that was a pretty not a dangerous slot, but a pretty, essentially two magnets beside you.
Most of you out there have not seen Shazam. When you do see it, you'll enjoy it, and you'll go, wow, that would have been a great Christmas movie. Per Shazam, you're probably done for now because you didn't make the money, and everybody around you made bags and bags of it. Not your fault. Realistically, I don't see a future in bothering to use the term summer blockbuster, because as we've just discussed, it's kind of gone.
Yeah, no, very much so, because as we've pointed out, the release dates and kind of things have changed a bit. So it's now just kind of it's when your franchise kind of accumulates to its end point is when, that blockbuster moment is going to happen, and that doesn't mean that it's going to be in the summer.
Yeah, I think, and I hate to use cars for this, but there was the whole supercar, and then when so many people made supercars, they came up with the term hypercar, and now they're trying to call them ultra cars, and I think just don't bother doing that when people are going, oh, now this is the super blockbuster. It's like, forget about it. It's a term that's useless, because there is no such thing as just one big event a year. There's a big event every other week for different ends of culture. And I think that's great, because now more people have franchise. The more people are involved in their own area of interest. Let us know what you think, though, more importantly. Do you think we're wrong? Or do you think that the summer blockbuster is an important idea and will remain? Are you hoping that it's going to go back to one big film a year?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, a lot of people are saying that they've got fatigue, but I don't think anybody wants to go back to that thing.
I guess it would be easier on the wallet.
Easier on the wallet, but yeah, you know what? When it comes to November time, and we've got like 9 brilliant films all being released because of the Oscar season.
Yeah, the Oscar bait stuff.
You'll be glad, because we get so much great content to go out and watch. or to sit in and watch, as it may be. So let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, share. YouTube rhyme. There you go. Check out all our other videos. We have one on Steven Spielberg, which you will see a link to right up here, which covers the man who created the blockbuster, or at least had a hand in the first 30 years of it.
Yeah, very much so. Very like a name very synonymous with the Summer Blockbuster. So,
yeah. So on that note, I've been Patrick.
And I've been Paul.
And we've been Hear Us Out.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.